Hello, I'm Julie Orvis, and I'm the coordinator of special events at Historic Deerfield, and bringing you today's episode of celebrating our ambassador that introduces a few of our volunteers to our friends and followers. Our ambassadors give their time with a variety of special talents. Today, I'm talking with Trudy Ralph from Shelburne and her niece, Alicia Ralph from Florence. They're both in Shelburne today, who have volunteered since 2014 when they responded to our appeal for ambassadors. For the first time, Historic Deerfield participated in the Free Fun Friday program. Looking back through their volunteer history records, I note the wide variety of activities that both have helped with: greeting, frequently asked question tables, wayfinding, registration, hostessing and refreshment setup, remote store, forum participant packet collating, and breaking down luminary. We can say what that is a little bit later. Alicia and Trudy have signed up to help with audience, were signed up to help with audience check-in for the March 29th Winter Lecture with Alice Nash, the first of many events that Historic Deerfield had to cancel this year. All three of us are great fans of Maker's Monday series, and we have set up a tea for ourselves based on the post that appeared on June 9. And I have cupcakes that I made and froze. Here they are. That was made from the post on May 25th. So tell us, how did you? I had in my records that you responded to that original ambassador's appeal, but remind me if my memory is right, and how you, and I'm sure you've had a long history of loving Historic Deerfield, so how you got involved or what motivated you to get involved.
I do whatever my aunt wants to do, anything at all. No, my aunt has been taking me to Deerfield since I was very little, and she has a long history going back to her mom,
whose birthday it is today.
Oh, happy birthday.
And she was born on Pine Nook Road in Old Deerfield.
Ah, okay, across the street by Eagle Brook.
That's right, that's right. And actually, I found a letter written by a Deerfield resident on her birth to her mother saying, "We haven't seen you, and now we know why, because of course, when a lady was pregnant back in 1913, they didn't go out very much."
So great. So I'm gonna, I have some pictures then, and I'm gonna share the screen. So my first picture, this was the picture from the Maker's Monday. This is our inspiration for today's activities, and we can see your great table behind you, and I showed you my table with my blue willow china, and my picture isn't coming up, so I'm not going to bother showing. It just shows your picture when we do this. So, but these are some of this is one of my favorite pictures of the two of you. This is when we were you were hostessing for our Winter's Ball tour, and that's your mother-in-law, right, Trudy? That's not Trudy, Alicia. Alicia's mother-in-law that's with you, right? Yeah. And then the last, this is when we talk about collating packets. This is what the room looks like when we do that. We're collating packets. And at the
highly skilled work we do for you guys.
Yes, it is.
Because we get to review the ABCs frequently.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right. Well, you know, the packets look like it's, you know, you say highly skilled, looks like it's like kind of mindless work, but actually, you know, you have to be paying attention to what you're doing, because if you put the, you know, what order you're doing that. If I remember correctly, at that particular point, we were using the big room instead of my office, was because we were doing packets for two different events. That was last summer. We were doing the packets for the building trades forum that was on the Saturday, and then for the natural history program that was starting that next Monday. So I had 2 sets of packets that were going. And this is a picture of you with Sarah Hollister at last year's volunteer party. And this is a way we really would like to have our tea, right? in the Ashley tea, in the Ashley parlor. So just a few, so going back, so that's just a few pictures I wanted to remember back. So what are some of your favorite volunteer days with Historic Deerfield? Somebody or a funny thing that happened to you when you were volunteering?
Well, I really enjoy setting up for the coffee in the morning.
Yes,
and seeing all the people come in.
Yeah, and you're a great morning person too, Trudy. You're great at getting there at 7 o'clock in the morning to get the coffee started. Yeah.
And then, you get to see everybody that's come into the program. And of course, if you know them, you can chat with them for briefly. And so that's one of my favorites events. And I like the hosting for the cider and the cookies. That's always a favorite. And again, greeting people, and it's winter and it's a happy time of year.
Yeah.
So
it's beautiful. I like the community room too. I mean, I just love the kitchen in there. So I love
at
that
the Deerfield Community Center. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how welcoming it is. And you set up, and again, you get to meet people which you might never have met before, and then fabulous lectures. So I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed just being on the street.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So I know, and one of the things that I mentioned that what you did was is helping to break down the luminaries. When I looked at that, I was like, oh yes, that was talk about behind the scenes, no fanfare grunt work. that was definitely was that just you, Alicia, or did both of you do that?
We both did it.
Yeah.
We both did it, and I had no idea that you could take that. I didn't. I learned so much.
Yeah. So just just to say for our public is that the luminaries, we have these plastic bag luminaries that you put in a little tiny bit of water, and then we have these battery candles that are activated. The water activates the battery in the candles, and when we do things in the evening during the winter time, we would line the street with these luminaries. But then you have to, take them, pick them all up and dump all the water, and you have to completely dry everything because you'll break down the batteries if you have any moisture at all in the thing. So that's what you were doing. It was the next day, is the cleanup, getting all those luminaries to be so that we were saving them for future use. Yeah.
But it's rewarding work, We rescued so many.
Yeah, we have. I think we have almost 100 of them. I mean, there's just because when you for the Winter's Ball tour, we had to line the luminaries all the way from the visitor center all the way up to Allen House, and then back on one side, and then back to the inn on the other side. And the year I had, it was the year that we did the we had Bob Olson came to do the Mr. Potter magic show, and I think maybe we had luminaries just around down, and that was at the Deerfield Community Center. So is there anything funny that ever happened with like a particular that you just made you laugh or? No.
Lots of enjoyable, and it was awful embarrassing because I was in the kitchen. There was a lecture going on, and just things were loud, and you could hear it. It was like, oh no.
Oh no. Yeah.
Keep it down in there, and I'm doing nothing.
So that last event that you missed because we had to cancel it, it was we ended up we overbooked or had a large turnout for the first lecture that was at the Goranzik Auditorium at the Deerfield Academy, and then we switched over to the Koch, not the Koch Center, but the Hess Art Center. And we could have up to 700 people, but we didn't, it's like we still had people pre-registering. It was we had about 450 people who came for Kevin Sweeney. So that's what we were kind of expecting, So anyways, so let's end it there. Okay.
Oh, I'm
Unless
sorry,
you
I
have
just was
something
thinking-
else you want to say.
Well, I was just saying I really enjoyed when it's too big for the community center and you end up at Deerfield Academy, because I've never been in many of those buildings. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the programs that we can always count on being extremely popular. And a leap year, which this was, a leap year, and the 1704 was the theme for the lecture series. And Kevin, who's very well known in the area, of course, and he spoke about the history of taking captives and what happened with captives, not just here in Deerfield for the 1704 raid, but throughout all of those conflicts that were going on. That captive taking was pretty common, and what happened to them. So it was a pretty interesting lecture series, and like I said, we can always count on that being really popular. And you're right, I always love it when we have a lot of people coming and everything is popular. So I just want to end this conversation to say to both of you that you really epitomize the Historic Deerfield Ambassador Program, and that you're always willing to help out behind the scenes without a lot of fanfare, and arriving early in the morning, especially Trudy, you're my go-to 7 o'clock in the morning person, and I really appreciate that. And when out in the front, you're really welcoming to visitors with enthusiasm and passion for the history that we're trying to exhibit and demonstrate here at Historic Deerfield. So thank you very much for your volunteer. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the fall when we reopen. The plan is to reopen for a revolutionary muster on September 5th. And we'll be in touch with activities going on in the fall, and there is going to be a lot of them, we hope. Thanks.